The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max NXT Review.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another W2M NXT review for February 7th, 2018. And of course, we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com. I, of course, am Gary Vaughan. Along with me is your host, Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And Paul, I am ready to talk some NXT. And it's, one of those shows that's kind of took place this past Wednesday. That it's going to be kind of interesting because there's some things in this I really want to delve into and really kind of figure out your thoughts, because this was definitely, I don't know, a different feeling show than ever for me. I don't know if you felt the same way, but I kind of found myself halfway through just saying, this is different.
Yeah, and we're in a different place. Right, we're in Atlanta at Center Stage, where they used to tape old Raws, and where Ring of Honor has been a lot recently. So it's a very different feeling.
Yeah, feeling, and also just the way the show went overall. So we're going to get into all of that. But before we do, before we get into all the great things of NXT, I do want to fill the people in. W2Mnet.com, like I just told you guys, it's the place where you'll get this review show, all of our other great review shows that we do, like Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, 205 Live. All those great things are right there for you guys over at W2Mnet.com, plus our regular episodes of Wrestling to the Max. Don't forget to go check them out there. And, hey, if you're listening to us through iTunes, Spreaker.com, Podbean, iHeartRadio, wherever the heck you find us, just do us a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, rate and review. Once you do that, that gives us some help. That gives you a lot of help. And, of course, that makes us all happy. So please go do that now. And give our friends over at 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com some love, too. They have some great articles, some other materials that I'm sure you guys will love. So please go check them out as well. But, yeah, Paul, let's do this. Let's talk about this NXT in Atlanta.
Let's do it. And first off, on a technical side, we're trying a new way to transmit our voices to each other, i.e. Discord instead of Skype. So if there's any sort of different sort of quality issues, we are still most definitely working on them. So bear with us on that front too, please.
Yeah, for sure.
This episode of NXT, however, opens, you have Sanity and Undisputed Era getting ready to have their big tag team title match. That doesn't happen. Undisputed Era gets attacked as they're making their entrance by Sanity. We have a big old brawl. Undisputed Era run away. William Regal's all pissed off. His main event and big match has been ruined now, so he makes a 6-man tornado tag team match later on in the evening. And I tell you what, Gary, nobody can look more pissed in the world than William Regal. His face is just built for rage.
It really is. And trust me, I would be a pretty terrified person if he was angry at me. So, yes, you're right. And I love the way this whole kind of thing broke down, because it just makes all the sense in the world. The Undisputed Era is just ruining everybody's time, right? Mm-hmm. They're messing with Sanity. They're messing with AOP. Anybody they can mess with, they're just screwing with them. And that's going to cause some backlash, and we're seeing it. And I love the way that they made Sanity look in this. Killian Dane. I mean, you know how on Monday Night Raw we get a chance to see Braun Strowman throw people around. Killian Dane got to do that his part on this too, and just basically say, "F security, I'm coming after these guys." And they get some great camera shots of him, and of course the rest of Sanity too. But I just love the fact that they gave him a little bit of focus here, and just overall, I think this works because of what they're trying to get across, and that's, Undisputed Era, you're doing all these dastardly things. You think you're getting away with it, but you're not. And for William Regal to come out the way he did, I really appreciate it. That's what makes William Regal such a great GM, such a great presence on NXT, because he really is the perfect guy for the job, because he can really sell you on anger.
Mm-hmm. I agree. He's just great at everything, really. So NXT lucky to have him, I think, as their GM, and we're lucky to get to see him often, because I still love this guy from way back when too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That brings us to Heavy Machinery here taking on Riddick Moss, Tino Sabatelli. Sort of a rematch, because they did wrestle each other last month on the show as well. Machinery ended up going over here a little north of, I think, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Wasn't super long. And really, it didn't need to be, right? You're evening up the score here. And I don't know. This was fine, right? It's very developmental, I guess we should say.
It really is. And I'll say this. I love the fact that Heavy Machinery got over on this one and got the victory. And that's fine and dandy because I want to see those guys do big things, right? So that's the fan in me. That's take that aside. You do kind of question it a little bit for the fact that you kind of felt like Sabatelli and Moss were going to be going somewhere, right? They had this direction, and it seems like now Heavy Machinery beating them, where are they really? And I think we got a little bit of that answer, and I'm a little bit surprised in that because I thought these guys, had some potential, had some things good going forward with them, kind of like the gimmick, all that they had. So I really kind of honestly wish I knew a little bit of the backstage stuff, why they're doing this, what it's about. But, if anything good comes out of this, it's the fact that Heavy Machinery got a big victory here, and I appreciate that.
They did get a big victory here. In the post-match, you have Riddick Moss bailing on Tino Sabatelli and sort of leaving him alone after taking the fall. This is a very... how should I say, curious, maybe, situation. I don't think Riddick Moss has a lot to offer by himself. Tino, I think, might. He has a good look. He's not the worst person I've ever seen in the ring. I think Riddick just has a lot more learning to do, and maybe that's what this is for, is to sort of help take him off screen for a while. But, Tino looks pretty ready to do a lot of different things. But being a single act right now on NXT is really, really rough. Just because you have so many stars, no matter where you go. And I think trying to stick out, in especially the singles division, is going to be a really tough road ahead of anybody.
I couldn't agree more. Riddick Moss is one of those guys that, sure, he has the size, right? And he's not a bad-looking guy. But really, you can tell when it comes to charisma, when you could definitely tell in-ring action, he's not exactly at the point where he needs to be at this moment. And with Sabatelli, like you brought up that perfect point. With Sabatelli, you can hide those things. Not saying that Sabatelli is a 5-star match kind of guy yet or anything like that he's able to cover up for the mistakes that maybe Riddick Moss makes. But at least when it's a 50-50 where these guys share the ring, you can kind of hide a few things. And right now, I just, once again, I'm really curious why they took that away from Riddick Moss. Maybe they do want to kind of take him away and hide him away and develop him some more for something else in the future. But just, if this is going to be a feud between those two, I have a gut feeling it's going to be a short one because, let's be honest, Paul, no one's really going to be super excited about Sabatelli versus Moss. That's not going to be, my God, it may end up on a pre-show for NXT, but it's not something that I think a lot of people are clamoring to see.
Yeah, you settle on NXT TV in a month or two maybe. It doesn't need to be a feature. You can just do, I think, a single match and blow it off, and we can move on with our lives because, with only an hour, I don't think this is really something that should take up a chunk of time, unless you have just these gigantic machinations to make Tino Sabatelli this huge star for you somehow.
Yeah, and I really don't think that's exactly the direction they're going. I think Sabatelli is definitely a project. I just don't know what they believe in him, what they want of him. I think they're just kind of curious what they can get out of him because he is a great athlete.
Yeah. And
he has something to offer, but I think more along the lines of they probably have creatively some different directions they kind of want to go with them. So
I think you're spot on there. So let's move on to this Johnny Gargano promo, who is here to address his loss specifically at NXT TakeOver. The fans welcome him with open arms. They're completely in love with this guy, and how could you not be after the string of insanely amazing performances he's had? And he comes out and says, Philly, I thought that was going to be my crowning moment. I was going to come out here, I was going to win the NXT title, I was going to show up here at center stage as the new NXT champion, and that didn't happen. And that kind of sucks, you know. So, however, he's got the fans' reaction to fall back on. He's got all this new respect, and he had one of the best matches of his career. All these other great things, and then he finally addresses the big elephant in the room, and of course that's Ciampa. And he wants Ciampa to know he's coming for him. And before he can really dig in deeper into that situation, here comes Almas and Zelina Vega. And Vega is sort of rubbing it in Gargano's face. You know, you didn't earn anything. You just wasted Almas's time, and you lost. You know, you're big nothing. All this other stuff to keep running him down. And eventually, you have Candice show up. And have those two sort of squaring off in the ring, looking on at Vega and Almas and all that. And, you know, Vega not pleased at all because they do trade some barbs here a little bit. And, God, if I remember correctly, I think Candice and there's a bit of a brawl here, and Candice ends up beating up Almas a little bit. And this eventually leads to them making an NXT title match. Johnny Gargano accepts, but Zelina wants his career to be on the line. If he loses, he will leave NXT, and Gargano accepts, but Candice kind of gives him the side-eye look, like, you sure? Like, you think this is a smart idea? You've lost twice, you know? Or three times. 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times, you're correct. And, yeah, I mean, I'd be giving him the side-eye, too. That's just a little scary. It's something that I would have never taken if I were him, but man, Paul, that makes me also get giddy and think about some other things that could be coming down the line for Gargano, which I would assume moving on, right? I don't know if that's the case or not, but I mean, at least it makes you kind of get in those theories and thought processes when it comes to Gargano, because he is such a great talent. I think Triple H loves him so very much, and I think that you know, he would love to pop him on that Raw or SmackDown roster at any moment after WrestleMania. So who knows what the direction that they're going to go here in NXT, but especially for the fact that we've been talking plenty of times about all the new stars heading into NXT, and your window for getting Gargano the NXT title may be really short unless you're willing to make some of those newer stars wait on an NXT championship. So it's really making me think about things. The promo itself, I think it worked out fine, right? We needed to hear from Gargano. We got that opportunity. Of course, Candice coming out only makes sense because, well, you know, she's got Almas and Vega coming out there to basically do what they did at TakeOver. So I think all the way around, I'm excited to see what they do in this match. I think it's going to be really good, and I think it's going to be so much more fun, too, for us to see actually Candice and Vega to be in the ring together as well, because we haven't seen that here on NXT. We've seen it, you know, I'm not sure if we haven't even seen it on the women's Mae Young Classic. We didn't even see those two. So we didn't see Vega wrestle.
Right.
So that matchup is pretty new, at least here on NXT.
Yeah, I mean, if this transitions into getting a feud for Zelina as far as the in-ring stuff goes, that'd be great. I mean, she is a wrestler. She can go. I think she's pretty talented. I'm a big fan of Candice. I know there's a ton of people out there that are. We've gotten to see a snapshot of what she can do in a WWE/NXT ring and the Mae Young Classic, and just easy sense making here if you want to make something out of this. But I'm you know, when you do the title match, I'm real worried, because where does this sort of leave Ciampa if Gargano happens to lose and he's not around to have that match anymore? Like, are we just going to push it to the main card and then suddenly have to convince a whole different audience why this matters? Like, I feel like that's a bit of a mistake. So maybe there's a longer story play here.
And really, I mean, let's also think of the fact that you're really going to strip Almas of that title while he's got so much going for him right now, just to help Gargano at least say he was the NXT champion for however long. I don't know. I think there's a reason that Almas won at TakeOver Philadelphia. I think there is. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong. Who knows?
Yeah, so I mean, we'll just have to keep waiting and looking and seeing what's going to go down there. We go to Shayna Baszler, who seems intent on becoming the most feared woman in NXT. and says that she has done that by, just simply all her actions that she's done within the month of arriving to the company and the brand and all that. And, she says, there probably won't be a rematch with Ember Moon because she's afraid of me. I don't know about that, Shayna. We go to Tyler Bate, who is interviewed about his loss to Roderick Strong from last week, and says he's going to be keeping an eye on that UK title match, and talks about how great a competitor Roderick was, and he wants to sort of continue his NXT career and have a string of matches against all the other top guys. Aleister Black, Andrade Cien Almas, Johnny Gargano, Velveteen Dream. There's a laundry list of great matches awaiting Tyler Bate if they're going to have him on NXT more often.
Oh yeah, and this guy is super talented. And I don't know, Paul, if we're going to have to believe the rumors circulating around Tyler Bate that he ticked someone off in the office, and WWE's been punishing him by going on this losing streak and all that. I don't know if it's true. It may be. Who knows? But what this is interesting to me for is the fact that you got such a great athlete here, someone who could have, I think, really amazing matches with a lot of those people you just named and many, many more on this NXT roster, plus the new guys coming in. So am I going to complain about Tyler Bate getting more opportunity on NXT? Nope, not one bit. I'm excited. I hope it happens, and I'm ready for those matches because every time I see Tyler Bate in a match, it's been great.
I completely agree with you. I forgot what point I was. Oh, the Tyler Bate rumor. I don't know how much stock I put in that. He's won a lot. He's lost a lot recently. It's not like he's on TV every week, so I don't know how long the losses are really going to matter, to him in this fashion. But I don't know. I like having this guy around. He's just so good, and he's so young too, right? I mean, it's hard to think that taking a string of losses for however long or brief a time it's going to be is really going to hurt him any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And, it's just exciting that these kind of guys are getting the opportunity. And when I mean these kind of guys, these UK guys are getting opportunities here on NXT that don't have a full-time schedule over here in the States, because we know Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, basically all those UK guys have got a lot of things going on over there in the UK, and they're really working for WWE, but it's kind of part-time while they're doing indie stuff as well. So I'm just happy that he's going to at least get a string of matches here, whether it's full-time or whether it's just a little bit of, time over here in the States.
Yeah, absolutely. After the string of promos there, we have Bianca Belair winning a squash. Don't know how much there really is to dig into here, but seeing Bianca on TV more often, I'm not really going to complain about. She continues to show you just, I think, how much potential she has to be somebody really, really big. Not only for NXT, but I think for WWE at large. Just her presence and her character and all that shines through. And we've seen her have the great matches before. She looks great in this as well.
I think that, they're really working hard on, building some of these newer stars and finding a way to get them on NXT television. And Bianca's finally here, right? And she's finally in front of us on a more weekly basis. And I think that that's great. And as you could tell in the Mae Young Classic, someone that came out as a fan favorite. People love Bianca Belair, and I think this is her opportunity now to once again showcase that ability, and I think they're doing it just fine. I think she feels important. I think just the charisma, all that she kind of exudes, it's really, really cool to see. So, yeah, you're right. There's not a lot here, not a lot to really dive into when it comes to the match, but I think we at least got to be excited for the fact that we know her getting squash matches means that she's going to have some bigger things in store, and hopefully a really great feud coming up here, right?
Absolutely. We get a Kairi Sane video package just to sort of, I guess, let you know she hasn't gone missing or anything. She's still around, guys. Then we cut to Ember Moon challenging Shayna Baszler to a title match next week, which still seems like a giant mistake because if I remember correctly, I watched this pretty late last night. Her arm is still in the cast, and that's not a good decision there, Ember.
No, not at all. And that's my thought process too on this is, wait, why would you even attempt it? But once again, it feeds into Shayna Baszler, everything that she's trying to get across that, hey, I'm going to kill you no matter what. And not only that, your arm's injured, I'm going to rip it off. And I think they're really going to sell that. If they're going to actually have this match, that means that they're going to sell that. She's going to try to rip that arm off. And it just makes me wonder how it's going to change things. Because does it really make a lot of sense to make Ember Moon do this again? I don't know what it does, but maybe they have some other things in place for why they're doing it. But it is what it is, and they're going to have that match. So, and one other thing, I got to say this, Kairi Sane, you just mentioned, people are not, sure what happened to her, and all of a sudden here she is, and they're showing her, casing her again. I think that's great. They need to continue to let people know that she has not gone on and done anything else, and especially for the fact that people could be worried that she got lost at sea, because I would be worried. I mean,
she's an experienced yacht person, Gary. I think she'd be okay at sea.
Okay, well, fair enough. Now I don't have to worry so much. I've lost a lot of sleep this week over that, so good.
Oh, I'm glad to assuage your fears, Gary. And then we come to our big main event that was made early in the evening. Sanity taking on Undisputed Era, Tornado tag team action. This was just wonderful. You end up having Dane get taken out and apparently injured, so much so that he has to get taken to the back. He ends up coming back later on after there's some isolation action on Eric Young. Dane is ready to come in and whoop some butt. He does so. Big roar. Ends up hitting the Ulster plantation on Bobby Fish a little bit later. Gets Sanity the win. This is really, I think, geared to keep Killian Dane looking awesome. And Sanity, I think, getting a much-needed win here, too. But I don't know if anybody really came out of this looking all the worse for it. I thought this was just good stuff.
It really was, and you gotta love the energy that this matchup brings to you, right? It really has that big fight feel. Like, as soon as this match was, supposed to have them start the show, you felt it was important, it was huge, it had that big fight feel. So I was really happy about that, and I think that the way this all worked out too here was great for the fact that, like you said, and no one did come out looking bad or like it was lopsided. No, I mean, Undisputed Era looked as good as they ever have, really, just kind of doing their thing, and that's fine. Sanity's as nuts as they can be, and they do that, but they're also very chaotic and also, take their lumps for being so chaotic. And we saw Killian Dane take that tumble and have to take some time off out of this match until he came back and looking amazing. So once again, I think you're right on cue with that statement of these guys coming out, no loss for wear. And I'm really looking forward to more of this. I think Sanity needed this victory in a big, big way. Sanity has been a team that has been so up and down. They are legitimately a roller coaster. Because you never know what turns they're going to take, how high or how low they'll be. But I'm just happy they're here, and I'm so excited to see what they're going to do from now.
Yeah, I agree. Clearly, this feud ain't going anywhere. I think it is sort of the big thing to take away from this. The tag title's still up for grabs in here somewhere. I'm sure we might get something between Cole and Young down the line, too. It's going to be a good time, just because Sanity is such an entertaining package all on its own, and you know what you get from the Undisputed Era already if you've been with them for a while, and even if you haven't, I still feel like they've done a pretty good job of making them feel big and important, and once again, with Cole doing the promos most of the time, seemingly, you're going to get some good stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. So, I think, when you come to talk about factions in NXT, they've got some solid, and I think both are basically locomotives going forward. And anytime they collide, it's just too much fun.
Exactly. And that's going to do it for this week's NXT. Next week's the UK title match between Strong and Pete Dunne, which I cannot wait for. And of course, now you have that women's title match on the docket as well.
Yeah, so a big, big show for next week. I can't wait to delve into it. But we got to wait a week, guys. I'm sorry. You just got to wait. So I just want to let you guys know, if you want to go and find some other great shows, until then, make sure you go to W2Mnet.com. That's where you get all of our great review shows, every single thing we do, like Wrestling to the Max every week, twice a week. please go check out those shows. Go to W2Mnet.com. And if you just like to listen to us on your favorite podcasting place, whether it's iTunes, Podbeam, iHeartRadio, wherever it is, just hit that subscribe button over at the W2M Network or Wrestling to the Max. Once you hit that button, you'll get us all the time, anytime when it comes to your dock. And hey, and also don't forget, and when you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, also do us a favor, rate and review. Once you do that, that gives us some feedback. It also gives us an opportunity to reach more people when you hit those 5 stars. We appreciate it. Also, make sure you get some huge love to 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com. They are partners in crime of ours, and we really appreciate them. They have some great articles out there on their sites. They have some really fun stuff. So don't miss a minute of the action over there either. Just go check them out. Support them like they support us. Okay, guys? And, yeah, that wraps us up here. So we hope you go and check us out. Me, Paul, and Sean will be doing Wrestling to the Max, episode 285, part 2. So please go check that out now. Until then, we will catch you guys down the road.
Have a good one, guys.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.